Welcome to SUSE Live. My name is Brent Schroeder. I head the Office of the CTO. In the Office of the CTO, we look at emerging technologies and how that's impacting business and how businesses are implementing and the challenges that they may face, and how do we as a company and an industry help evolve those technologies to really drive business value in that. Joining me today is Keith Basil. Basil goes by Basil, so you keep the names in the right order. The General Manager of the SUSE Edge Business Unit. Welcome, Basil.
Yes, it's good to be here, Brent.
Very good.
Yes, looking forward to this.
I am too. It's going to be a good discussion. So SUSE Live, and what do we do on SUSE Live? So here we want to discuss the opportunities and challenges that you'll likely face in adopting new technologies and new use cases. What are those? How are you going to overcome those? What are some of our customers doing that are successful in that and driving that forward? So we really look forward to bringing this series to you. Today, we want to talk about NRF. NRF was recently completed. Very exciting event there.
Before you go further, can you explain what NRF is?
Oh, that's a good point.
Yes.
So National Retail Federation
excellent.
show.
It's an annual conference?
Annual conference.
Okay.
30,000 attendees from around retail industry.
Okay.
And companies coming together to talk about what's next and where is technology going.
Excellent.
Where's the customer experience going?
Okay.
Because that's really, I think, the center of it.
Yes.
Today is what's the customer experience evolving to. And you're kind of right at the center of that with the edge technology.
Yes, we are in the middle of the tornado, I guess.
So one of the key topics at NRF was customer experience.
Okay.
Where's that going? What did we expect that to evolve to? Mm-hmm. And really one of the driving factors of that is omnichannel.
Okay.
A similar experience, a connected experience wherever you go.
So, okay, you gave us a brief definition. For those that are not in the retail industry, can you elaborate more on what omnichannel is? I feel like I'm the host here, but I'm not the host. I wanted people to get the full context of what we're talking about. So omnichannel, let's start there.
So omnichannel, a single experience wherever you are. If you're an online shopper, if you're in the store, no matter what channel you're experiencing
or interacting with that
retailer, you get a single view.
Gotcha.
The customer or the business gets a single view of you, the customer.
Gotcha.
So that's really the essence.
So it's kind of like
that.
when I go on my web browser and put something in my Amazon cart, go to my app on my phone, the thing is still in my cart on the phone.
Still in your cart, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Or if you go online to a traditional brick and mortar, and you do an order there, and then you show up at the store and you pick it up because it's right there. And it's seamless experience across those interaction points.
Excellent.
So I think that's really the driving factor there. And then the discussion around the technologies that are going to enable that.
Yes.
There's a couple of technologies that you can't escape these days.
Yes.
AI is one.
Yes.
And AI, a lot of people have that experience with that, and they're experiencing that in the cloud.
Yes.
Right? But that's not at the edge.
Correct.
So how does that information get to the edge, and how does it get picked up and used from the edge?
Yes.
And that's where your business comes into play.
Yes, and so I'll take the baton from you.
All right.
Okay, all right. So here's the thing. I like the word omnichannel because, omni being kind of all horizontal, multiple channels. That's from the applications perspective going down to running on the infrastructure.
Right.
So I'm coming from the bottom up. So what we do is we provide edge infrastructure so that these omni-channel applications can run. The other reason I like the word omni is because we have kind of standardized on an upstream project called Kubernetes for consistency of the API. And we expect that Kubernetes API to be everywhere. So it's like the Omni API, right? Yes. For managing the infrastructure. So it's great because if you have that consistent infrastructure using something like Kubernetes, you can use it to drive your infrastructure on location or on premises. for that retail store. You can also drive it from the enterprise if you have your own private data center or some infrastructure, or in the cloud. It's the same API from a logistics and IT perspective when deploying things. So I think the power of the things that we see at NRF and the evolution of infrastructure supporting these applications is at a really interesting nexus point.
Right.
Because once you decided that, okay, this is our standard API for the infrastructure, and then now we can standardize on the application set that's going to be run on top of all of the infrastructure, no matter where we put it, which is a great place to be for leverage, efficiency, agility, the speed in terms of responding to market conditions. You now have a platform that can keep up with you.
Right.
Yeah.
And being able to bring AI into the play there as well. I don't just have to run AI in the cloud.
Correct.
I can bring that to the edge, to the point of experience.
Yeah. So my perspective on AI is a little bit different than what you would probably commonly see. So in NRF, I kind of took away from what I was understanding about what was the thematic approach there was that AI and customer interaction was mostly around content generation, right? Which is a great first step for AI. But I think the real power in AI is in a more advanced or evolved kind of solution. But I don't believe that that solution will materialize until we get good connectivity to the presence at the physical location specifically.
Right.
So, for example, can we see the people in the store? Can we do facial recognition?
Right.
Can we listen to conversations with the customer and our representatives there to, sense happiness or stress in the conversation? Can we check the inventory that's there real time? So, AI to me at the edge is really critical because it is the other nexus point where our digital applications and infrastructure touch the real world. And that touching of the real world, collecting that real world data is the magic that's going to make AI super relevant and super powerful for us. So my premise is that AI is wonderful. Everybody's on the AI train right now, rightfully so.
Yep.
But it's going to take us some while to get that physical presence in the location and pull that data to feed the AI engines.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be really cool.
And I think the impact of that, bringing it down to the individual shopper, to me, right, is the experience.
Yes.
Right. I want to be able to. I want to shop where the business knows who I am.
Yes.
Knows my history with them. Knows the things that I'm trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
So that I can get a better experience, better recommendations, and I don't have to go back and forth.
Yes.
You may have had the same experience, right? As I go to the home improvement store 3 times on Saturday afternoon because I forgot things that went along with the other things that I bought.
Correct,
right?
correct. You're making me think about something, and I just literally live here. I just put this together. Like the town where my grandparents lived is in Northern Virginia, a little place called Middleburg.
Yeah.
And Miss Edwards she ran and owned what's called the B&A. It was the local small grocery store.
Right.
When you walked into the B&A, she knew who you were.
Oh, yeah.
She knew kind of your family makeup and structure, and she knew that maybe one of your children liked this particular fruit or something. So that local context, I think, is really critical, and it's refreshing to hear you talk about maybe the technology getting us back to that more personal level of interaction, even though it's kind of computer driven, but there's no AI Miss Edwards, right? But there could be,
There could be.
So, but I love that concept, and it's like I said, it's refreshing to hear that.
Yeah, I have conversations with AI all the time.
I argue with AI, and then I realized I was arguing with an AI engine, and I just stopped.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think that's really what's exciting, and I think what separates edge technology today or in the near future from what we used to have in the past.
Yes.
And what people really need to think about. And what I find is all the use cases that haven't even been imagined yet.
Yeah, correct. There's always a new day, something new. And there's this thing that people say in AI, like AI is the worst it's ever going to be today.
Yeah.
It's only going to get better, right? Which is a really cool place to be in terms of technology, knowing that the future we're always going to be better and greater and more capable of doing really cool things. So what else did you derive from NRF if that's what we're still on?
No, it's definitely what we're on.
Okay.
I think where I want to come to
Yep.
with NRF is, it's nice to see at these shows
Yep.
all of the cool things that are going to happen. But it's not just going to happen by itself.
Gotcha.
Right? There's challenges along the way.
Mm-hmm.
What do people need to be thinking about when they start to think about an edge solution, about some of
Yeah.
these new experiences that they want to deliver?
So
Based on our experience, what challenges do
Yeah.
customers run into already?
Yeah, so we've been talking to quite a few retail customers with very large footprints in the tens of thousands of remote locations or storefronts or some type of retail presence. It's still early. Like
Yeah.
I said earlier, that we're at the nexus point of like Kubernetes being the standard API
Yeah.
to drive the infrastructure and to run your applications on top of. So there's a process of getting to that first step completely. As you know, if you have the responsibility of managing 10,000 stores, you're not going to make a wholesale change overnight.
Right.
There's steps involved, right?
Yeah.
You're going to have, your top 50 or 100 stores where you try it first, you get really good at the process, and then you go to 250, 500,
Yeah.
1,000, whatever. So there is a maturation process and evolution along the journey. And what we are instilling in our customers and recommending to our customers, and they totally get it too, so they're driving us in some degree, is that if we collectively understand that there's one API to manage infrastructure, we then can shift our focus to saying, okay, we need enough hardware and resources to be future-proof. Now, future-proof could be 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Classically, there's always a hardware refresh cycle.
Yeah.
We see it in a lot of retail situations. So as long as we're within the next, hardware refresh cycle, we're good to go. But so the CapEx spend and decisions, that's a real big thing for folks today. We are trying to do, we've seen it all. We've seen one single node for a store, 2 nodes for a store, with a little bit of magic for, determining quorum for the
Right.
cluster,
Yeah.
for the cluster.
For the availability.
And then anything 3 above is golden, right?
Yeah. Because I wanted to touch on that, is
Yeah.
that, I think the fear for retail
Yep.
is an outage.
Correct.
Hey, if I'm getting so
Correct.
dependent on technology,
Yes.
if something breaks,
Yep.
I'm done, right?
Yeah,
I've got
business stops.
customers standing,
Business stops.
waiting to check out,
Yep.
waiting to get a price check, waiting, to do a return.
Yep.
And there's nothing worse than that experience and the impact that it can have on a business.
Yeah, agreed. And so to finish that thought and to address what you just said, we work with our customers to do the proper topology architecturally. We look at each store as a single failure domain, the kind of self-enclosed thing that should, in theory, and should be designed to run without any external connectivity or any support resources if the power goes out, for example, or the internet goes down more appropriately.
Yeah.
So we have use cases and solutions for that. But that transition from either a virtual machine or a legacy application to a containerized environment running on top of Kubernetes, that's where we are today, right? That's exactly where we are today. Now, tomorrow being probably in the next 5 years, the more advanced AI will start picking up, because then you get into industrial IoT at the edge, how we do the sensors and everything to get the omnichannel user experience like fully nailed.
Right.
Because now we have the presence data to bring into the applications for that awareness.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh, exciting times ahead.
Yeah, wonderful times ahead.
So-
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Well, are there any other concerns or issues that come to mind?
Probably the last thing I'll say is that classically, when we deploy like cloud native infrastructure, it's in a data center or in the cloud. What has shifted here is that we're taking that same set of hardware, or at least in concept, and we're pushing it to these very hostile environments.
Right.
So the security posture of what we are deploying in the at that location has to adapt to the new threat vectors that come in, right? Because there's physical proximity
Yes.
to the devices that may be on the wall or in the back room or some such. So we have
closet with the
we have to
janitor.
think differently with that physical proximity being a huge threat vector that we have to take care of. So just making sure that the security policy is updated and lives and evolves as your platform evolves is one big thing that I wanted to just put out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point. Is as you move to the edge, in
your
retail,
security with
thinking about security,
Yes.
and the traditional security rules aren't sufficient.
Correct.
So you've really got to rethink that
Yep.
as you go forward from a physical standpoint, a proximity, who has access to things
Yep.
Is all different.
Yeah.
So-
There's one last thing, and I
Okay.
apologize.
No worries.
The business model has to evolve as well. And this is really
Okay.
the SUSE and customer relationship, or SUSE and systems integrator relationship. Because sometimes the customer has a large enough team, right, where they're acting as an internal service provider to all of the downstream stores. So in that case, like a volume type deal based on the number of stores is almost doesn't work. Quite frankly, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And our customers don't want to be bound to that type of model. So we've developed a new model that we come in and we say, look, we're going to support your internal team. And these are the things, these are the value propositions and things that we bring to the table to accelerate your team's efficiency and agility.
Okay.
And then you build your store solution on top of that stack and push that to your stores. And that price point is very in line with the OpEx, formula that retailers are looking for, the one that keeps them profitable, right?
Very
Or
true.
saves them a ton of money.
Yeah.
And so that's what we are leading with going forward in 2025, is to make sure that we polish that new business relationship model with the retail customers and systems integrators, for example.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
It is.
Good opportunity for businesses to take advantage of the new technology
Yes.
and at a new business model.
Yeah, and you've got a
how it gets
30-year-old
delivered.
open source software company,
Yeah, backing it up.
behind you and as part of your team, augmented, fully augmented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
It's a great model.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, very good. I want to thank you, Keith,
Sure.
for joining me
Thanks for
today,
having
or me finding you. So
Yes.
we're on the road.
Yes.
On Music Row in
in this
Nashville,
great,
Tennessee.
recording studio
So,
in Nashville. I didn't bring my guitar. Not that anybody would ever let me get recorded or anything like that.
we'll get the recording next time on
Next
the
time.
on
Okay.
the guitar.
Awesome.
So I want to make sure I open it up for questions. We want to accept questions, and we will absolutely get back to you with answers to any questions that you may have. I want to make a call to action here for you today. If you don't already have a revised and next generation strategy for edge technologies and AI empowering your retail and customer experience, then you need to get looking at it. Customers are expecting it. The customer expectation is going to evolve very quickly, and they're going to go where they feel at home, where they get a personalized experience wherever they're interacting with the business. And that's really what's going to drive the successful businesses going forward. So looking at, omnichannel experience anywhere to drive that customer experience, and utilizing edge technology and the power of AI to drive those interactions. So with that, thank you for joining us on SUSE Live, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you.